Okay guys, let's have a look at how to make that kind of techno kick drum. Now, I didn't go too heavy on this one. I didn't want to give something too rumbly. I wanted to give you kind of halfway between an acid and a sort of house and a techno kick drum. Something kind of fat and heavy and distorted, but still, prominent with a lot of punch. So I always start by getting one kick, which I feel has a nice tail to it, which is really bassy. And I started with this sound here. Now I really like this sound because it's quite dirty. It's got a nice click on the front as well, so good punchy kick, but good low end, really rumbly. So first thing I did was I added satin, just to beef up the low end a little bit. I love the way the warm tape kind of bumps up the low frequencies. And I increased the drive so we could really get some nice saturation, some nice harmonics added, especially to the kind of lower mids. And I think with techno, don't be afraid to overdo it. Don't be afraid to kind of go a little bit overkill with the kick when it comes to distortion. Next, I use the Overdrive plugin by Logic. Very, very easy plugin to use, super simple. And I just increased the drive until I felt like I had enough, until I was destroying the kick to the point where it still sounded good. Now, if you increase the drive too much, what happens is it will lose its tonality and it will sound a bit too messed up, because the overdrive will accentuate the frequencies in the kick. It will increase the frequencies but also accentuate them, so you've got to be a little bit careful with that. So I'll show you. So we're getting that really nice kind of, sounds almost flabby, but that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm going to use an EQ to take out those kind of low mids. This feels like around 300. There's a little bit too much there. And then I use this tone to get rid of that click at the top. So it's just a filter, just a high cut filter, just a smooth one. I think it's a 12 decibel. Be careful when you increase the drive not to increase the output as well. You kind of want to bring the output down as you bring the drive up, because the drive will increase the volume quite dramatically. So I usually start with my output down. So before and after, I think you can kind of hear where I'm going with this. So really nice and fat. And then I just use an EQ to take out some of those low mids, again, like I said, just around 300, so 250 there, and also to take out the clickiness from the high frequencies, and you'll see why in a second. With that nice kind of low distorted techno kick, but it still sounds like it's dirty, but it still sounds clean. It still sounds like we're in control of it, and that's what's really important. So I'll turn off the different EQ points to show you. So the high frequencies, so that's really focusing it around the low frequencies there. This kind of low mid, really horrible resonance in there. So 253 hertz by about -6 decibels. Now guys, it's not going to be the same for your kicks too. It's going to be different for every kick, especially when you apply distortion. It's going to accentuate different frequencies within the kick. So if you are trying to EQ it and you do the same EQ as me and it doesn't sound the same, it will be because you're using a different kick. So just have a think about the kind of kick that you're using, listening to what needs editing in it as well. Okay, so we've got this low cut here. That's just kind of just taking in the low end a little bit. Just at 30 hertz, I thought that was all that was necessary. Didn't really want to change the sound too much, but just clean up a little bit of that rumble. Now, when I took out the high end, I did that intentionally because I knew that I was going to add another kick that had better high frequencies, that had a better sort of click to it. So I used this sample here, so I'll just play it to you quickly. So I put a satin on it as well. Get that nice distortion, and then I just used a Pro Q2 with a low cut and a bit of a high boost just to get what I wanted from the kick, and the two together. It will probably come down a little bit here. There you go. It's important when you're doing that low cut not to bring it too far up or too far down. Too far down and the bass will start to mesh in kind of a horrible way, the bass of the sounds of the sub frequencies, and you'll probably end up losing the kick because you can get phase cancellation. And if you take it too high, sometimes it gets too clicky, and if it gets too clicky, then you also lose the kind of mid-range frequencies. So it's all about finding where it feels most natural. Now, once I had the balance between the kicks that I wanted, I track stacked them together, so you could send them to the same bus if you're not using Logic and you don't have track stacks. I used a solid EQ by Native Instruments, which I really like. It's based on a SSL G EQ. You've got the G and the E. The G is kind of harsher, the E is smoother. And I just use this again just to take out a few mids, add some high frequencies. That's all I felt I needed, and I rolled off a little bit of the low end again, a little bit of the high end. So again, taking a little bit of control. And then the other plugin I used from Native Instruments was the VC60, which is based on a DBX 160 compressor. It's got a really fast attack, really not slow release, fast attack, fast release. It's kind of good at kicks, getting a little bit more punch from them, giving them a bit of a knock, a bit of character, but still retaining that sustain, so that length at the end. So check this out. So it gives it a little bit more punch, and I love that. Okay guys, so get some kicks, layer them, apply some distortion, and then put them together and treat them as one, and I think you'll find that you'll get a really nice phat, halfway between sort of house, techno kick, still really dirty, but still really punchy.
Remember, at Sample Tools by CR2, we also offer a mix and mastering service. Just head over to www.sampletoolsbycr2.com, click on the mastering tab, and you'll find our range of services there.